Hi. Well, surprisingly enough, in these violent times we live in, the Beano is still Britain's biggest selling kids comic, with a circulation of over 250,000. This week is a bit of an exciting time for Beano fans, young and old, because not only is the comic going full colour for the first time, it's also being made into a video, which comes complete with its very own satchel.
It's a great day for menacing. Come on, Nasher, charge!
Ewan Kerr is the editor of the Beano and has flown all the way from the land of Dennis the Menace on the east coast of Scotland to join me tonight. The Beano is one of the few comics stroke magazines that hasn't really changed over the years. I mean, it's stayed almost exactly the same.
I wouldn't say that, really, no. In the very early days, in fact, there are no characters that were in the first Beano that are still around today.
Oh, I wasn't around in 1930, excuse me.
When I was born in 1951, Dennis the Menace, he came in, and he was really a new breed of character, because he was, you know, the original punk, I think, Dennis the Menace, and he was so much anti-authority. I think he created a bit of a stir at the time, but the kids absolutely loved him. Parents tended to think they were going to corrupt the entire nation. Maybe he's the cause of some of the problems today. But he was so successful that they followed on the Bash Street Kids and Minnie the Minx and Roger the Dodger, and really they've been the most popular characters for, well, what's that, about 40 years now.
Well, the Beano, having stayed relatively the same over the years, is now about to go through a huge change because it's going full colour, is it not?
Indeed, yes. Well, it's a double celebration for the Beano, because the Beano video is coming out, and at the same time all the black and white characters are to be given a lick of paint, and they're to be going to full colour as well.
It's a beautiful day. The sun's shining and the apples are ripe. The problem is how to get them.
What about the video? I mean, did you want to keep it as close to the original
Absolutely.
comic as possible?
Yes, the Living Doll, the animators, and ourselves were very, very keen to make it almost as if you were turning the pages of the Beano. But of course, there are a lot more in animation. There are a lot of things you can do that we're limited to 12 frames or whatever per page, where they've got thousands of frames to fill. So it allows you to expand on the story quite a bit. And we chose the characters very carefully too. Well, there's a boy character, Dennis the Menace, Minnie the Minx, girl character, the group, the Bash Street Kids, and animal characters, and the three bears.
Greedy bears are after your lovely grub today. Pizzas, pies, and chocolate eclairs, they'd surely love to stuff the lot away. See them slyly sneak about. Then, with a gleeful shout, they'll leap on you unawares.
Which were the hardest characters to bring to life?
I would say probably Dennis the Menace. He's been a difficult child all along, really, Dennis. Giving him the accent, the voice, and the other problem is, and has always been with Dennis, you have to make him a likeable character. He can't be a sort of a little hooligan. He's got to be somebody that the kids really identify with. And I mean, he gets up to mischief all the time, and he knows he's going to get punished, and he knows he's going to do the same thing tomorrow.
Oh no, what dastardly deed lurks on Dennis's doorstep? Pooh, a bath full of sweet-smelling water and a bucket full of rose petals.
Beware the pink glove.
Have you had to temper him at all in this sort of new politically correct climate that we're supposedly living in?
In certain ways, yes. Obvious things like he doesn't now jump into a car with a passing stranger to show him the way to the station, that sort of thing. He has been known in the past to get old fireworks and throw them down a well and toss matches down to make volcanoes, and that nowadays might be a bit difficult to show. But kids, and you've got to give them some credit. They know that their character is totally exaggerated and isn't real.
Do you think the Beano could be accused of being, you know, an old-fashioned comic?
Well, I suppose we are sometimes accused of having good old-fashioned values, but there is certainly a difference between wrong and right. You know in the comics that if somebody does something wrong, there'll be some comic retribution, comeuppance. But No, I don't think that the values are old-fashioned in any way. It's hopefully how, you know, the kids, the majority of kids behave, certainly nowadays.
Come along, fellow softies. We have some rather fetching needlepoint to do.